2018, two elementary teachers were sent out on a mission by the Lakeview School District to make science the coolest subject ever. These teachers promptly designed science units to expand the minds of the students from the sky to the underground. Today, still driven by their passion, they survive as science teachers of fortune. If you have an inquiry and no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
What up, Lakeview Nation?
And Science Nation!
Special shout out to Westlake and Prairie View.
And Riverside and Mingus Brook.
This is Mr. C, the Science G.
And Mr. O, the Science Bro. Hey kids, Mr. O here. In today's episode, we're gonna learn all about fossils. I'm out here at my excavation site searching for some fossils. Fossils are amazing. They give us clues to what the world was like long ago before humans. They give us clues about what animals were like long ago and how animals may have developed and adapted over time. Now, in my excavation site, I am ready to be a paleontologist. That's a scientist that studies fossils. They're like earth science detectives. They are really cool scientists. I got my shovel, I got my pickaxe, I got my little shovel when we get down to the nitty gritty. I also have a brush so I can brush off all the sand and dust off of any fossil I may find. I even got my hat so I can look cool while I do it. You know, I wonder if Mr. Canfield's having any luck over at his excavation site.
Hey kids, Mr. O seems like he has his hands full digging for fossils at the excavation site. Actually, I think I may have come across something. Come closer, let's see what I found. Look at this. It's a fossil of the remains of some sort of lizard. This is a great find, Mr. O. I'm gonna have to call Mr. O right away. Hey, Mr. O, guess what I just found? Yeah, I found a fossil. It looks like a fossil of some type of lizard.
Yeah. Whoa, that is awesome, Mr. Canfield. You know, I think I just struck down on something myself too. I was just about to get it out and check it out. Yeah. Well, no, I'm gonna see if I have a fossil too. I'll let you know. I'll give you a call back and let you know. Awesome. Well, good luck. Keep it up. All right, bye. Yeah, kids. Right before Mr. Canfield called, I think I struck something hard, and I'm about to pull it up to see, because this is an area rich in fossils around here. Let's come and check it out. It was about right. Ah, hear that? See, there you go. I got something. Oh, there we go. Ooh, let me see here. Let me brush it out and check it out. Ooh, we got definitely a fossil here. What? Whoa, look at that. Oh, yeah. Wow, now that is a find. That's part of a toe with its claw. Oh, that looks like some kind of large reptile of some sort. Maybe even a dinosaur, which are actually more closely related to birds than reptiles. Man, this is great. Now, I wonder which fossil's older, Mr. Canfield's or mine? I wonder if there's a way that we could figure that out or give some clues to which one might be older.
Actually, Mr. O, we can use rock layers to determine the general age of fossils. Generally, the deeper down the fossil, the older the fossil is. That's because sediment and earth materials build up over time, covering the remains of living organisms. The more layers that have built up means the longer the fossil has been there. Let's check out the layers on this chart. I found this particular fossil in layer 4. What layer did you find your fossil, Mr. O?
Actually, Mr. C, I found my claw fossil here in layer 2.
According to our charts, my fossil is older than Mr. O's fossil. My fossil you can find in layer 4. This is about 285 million years old. You can find other fossils such as reptiles, amphibians, insects, dragonflies, worms, and other types of various plants. Mr. O's fossil was found in layer 2. This is about 260 million years old. Both fossils are very old, but my fossil is slightly older because it's in a deeper layer of the earth.
Now that is some great paleontological information, Mr. C. You know, it makes me want to keep on digging to see if I can find myself some more fossils. Another rock. Tell you what, wait a minute. This is no ordinary rock. Look at this. You know what this is, kids? This is petrified wood. Petrified wood is technically a rock. It's a fossil, but it didn't used to be. Look very closely, and you can see all of the grains. This used to be a living part of a plant, a tree. Look at all the wood grains. But now, it's a rock. Everything has pores. Every living thing has pores. Wood has pores. Pores are tiny little holes. We have pores in our skin and our bones, and what happens is water seeps into the pores. Inside that water are minerals. And when the water evaporates, the minerals are left behind to fill in those little pores. And over time, the minerals build up and they build up and they build up. And eventually, they turn it into a rock, into a fossil. This is a wonderful find.
Very awesome, Mr. O. Let's see if we can find more clues of the past at my excavation site. Whoa, check this out. This is a fossil of a coral, which is a group of sea creatures. But wait, I found this coral in the sand. So does that mean that this area has always been dry? Does this coral fossil give us clues about the past and what it was like a long time ago? That's right. This area must have been part of a sea a long time ago. We find fossils such as fish, coral, and other sea creatures in the middle of the desert or mountains. It tells us that this particular era is very different than it is today. Fossils give us clues of the past. It tells us what certain areas were like a long time ago. Isn't paleontology so cool?
Yes, Mr. C, paleontology is cool. Okay, kids, Mr. Canfield and I are going to read you this book. It's called Where Do Fossils Come From? Mr. C is going to start us off. Here we go.
What was life like millions of years ago? Have you ever tried to imagine it? How do we know that dinosaurs existed? How do we know what they looked like? How do we know that dinosaurs with feathers existed? How do we find records of a world that disappeared long ago? We can trace life forms over millions of years by studying fossils. Paleontology is a branch of biology that studies ancient humans, plants, and animals who lived in prehistoric times. By studying their fossils, we can learn about them. People who study fossils are called paleontologists. By this study, we know what dinosaurs look like, how the first humans looked, and where they lived. This is science. It really amazes us with its discoveries.
Paleontologists often dig little holes and huge sites to get fossils, but sometimes fossils just show up through the actions of man or nature. What are fossils? Fossil comes from the Latin word fossilis. This means to dig up. Fossils are the remains of forms of life from past geologic ages that have been squeezed and buried in sedimentary rocks. Fossils tell us the activities, origins, and physical attributes of ancient forms of life. Fossils can be found anywhere in all continents. They are usually found in sedimentary rocks, which were formed from small pieces of rocks, mud, and sand. For years, the sand and small rocks built up and hardened in layers, with the fossils included in some of the layers.
What do fossils or their traces look like? Did they retain their original form? Are they always like a fossilized bone? No. A fossilized bone doesn't contain any bone anymore, though it has the shape of a bone. It is more of a rock. How are fossils formed? Ancient forms of life, like animals, got buried immediately after their death. They sank into the mud or were buried in the sandstorms. Their remains would become part of sediment. Over millions of years, more sediment would cover these remains, making it more part of the rock than its original form. What parts were usually fossilized? The bones and teeth of animals are hard body parts. They then sink into the sediment and they stay there for millions of years, waiting to be excavated.
Over time, these remains would take on the appearance of rocks through a series of chemical changes. Water with minerals would sink into the objects, giving them a rock-like appearance. In this process, the minerals in the decaying object were dissolved and replaced with minerals from the sediment. This is called permineralization, filling fossils with minerals. This also involved the process of recrystallization, which minerals change their form. Another way of forming fossils was by petrification. In this process, the hard and soft parts of the decaying object are replaced with other minerals such as calcite and silica. In this process, the remains were not turned to stone. Some remains, like those of insects, became pressed into tree resin, which turned to amber over the years. But not all ancient forms of life were fossilized. They simply died, decayed, and were lost.
The end product of this fossilization process were heavy rock-like objects. But not all fossils were bones and teeth of animals. Fossils also include animals' footprints in their burrows. Usually, scientists would not find the whole animal. Instead, they just found excavated shells, teeth, and bones.
Aren't these facts about fossils amazing? Yes, definitely. Fossils are amazing. With their help, we can imagine how life was when the world was much, much younger. Kids, it's an adventure to trace back to see how things were millions of years ago. And think about that. That's what fossils do. They give us the clues to what the world was like millions and millions of years ago, long before humans were on Earth. That is really awesome. Hey, Mr. Canfield, why don't you tell the kids what they can do at home to further explore the world of fossils?
Great idea, Mr. O. Okay, boys and girls, this is what you can do at home. Go to the video links in this Google Slides for this project. This will give you directions on what you can do to explore fossils and layers of the Earth. There's also a link to a Google Doc sheet where you can share what you have learned about fossil layers. Feel free to either complete the Google Doc sheet or even create your own slide about fossils that you can send to me, Mr. Canfield, or Mr. Olian. You can even discover your very own fossils by exploring various types of rocks as you search for signs of fossils. If you make any cool discoveries, send us the pictures and drawings of the fossils that you found. We will then post your findings on the episode's slides.
Thanks, Mr. C. Now, we just want you all to have fun doing science at home. We really miss you, and we hope that you guys are staying healthy and safe. Stay tuned for more from A-Team Science. We love you, Lakeview.
Love you, Lakeview, Westlake and Prairie View.
And Riverside and Mingus Brook.